Okay, well today I'm going to be talking about the total body diet. And when I wanted to do a lunch and learn for March, because it's National Nutrition Month, many months ago I thought, what could I talk on? And I went on the eatright.org website, which is the website of the American Academy of Dietetics, and I came across this handout, Eat Right, Living the Total Body Lifestyle. Yeah, everybody has that one. And it's based on a book called the Total Body Diet. Well, it's for dummies. I don't like that part, but they make all those books for dummies. And there was a lot of neat things in the handout, and so I ordered the book and thought, yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in here that I could talk about. And I made myself some sticky notes because after I created the PowerPoint, I realized there was more I wanted to say. But if you're looking on the sheet, the whole focus is about wellness and where you're at this point in your life. Are you ready to make changes? Are you ready to try to incorporate more activity? You really have to gauge, because it takes time and energy to try to work out more or try to eat better. It can be time consuming. So you need to be in the frame of mind to do it. And it's not just about what you're eating and your activity. It also brings in sleep, your state of mind. So if you're having depression, anxiety, stress, that can all cause health problems and change the way you're eating, which I can talk more about in a bit. And sleep has really become in the forefront of, they're talking a lot about depression, anxiety, lack of sleep, and all leading to heart disease. I've been reading that more and more. So you'll hear more about that in the future. And then in the back, it goes over 12 good steps to try to stay healthy. And the whole thing about this book is not what you take away, it's what you can add to your diet to be more healthful. So it's not about denying yourself, it's about adding more to your diet to maybe getting more fiber in, more calcium, little changes at a time. Okay, then I'll go over my sticky notes here so I don't forget. Thinking of sleep, the other night on the news, because we just had daylight changing time, an ER doctor said that around daylight savings time, when we lose an hour of sleep, there's actually a 24% increase in heart attacks related to lack of sleep. So I thought that was interesting. And one thing I didn't mention in the PowerPoint is fiber. The more fiber we can get in our diet through fruits, vegetables, whole grains, that keeps us more satisfied. And if we try to get in all our fiber from fruits, vegetables, and if we aim for the fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and then if we want something sweet in the night, but try not to have it unless we've met our fiber goal for the day or the amount of fruits and vegetables. So if we put that off a little bit, try to get this healthier food in, then maybe we're not going to be so drawn to the sweet food later at night. Another thing I heard on the TV was this doctor who basically was dealing with people with diabetes, but he told a lot of them to go out and get a shelter dog. And with a dog, you want to keep it healthy, so he would recommend taking their dogs for a walk, and they got great results. Lost weight, changed eating habits. One person lost 60 pounds. So I asked my doctor the other day, are you going to start recommending that for your patients, getting a dog? He kind of laughed, but since we got our dog 4 months ago, I'm trying to walk her 2 miles a day up above what I normally do, and I'm getting my steps in, and she's staying healthy. So if you have a dog or want to get a dog, that's one way to get your steps up. In the life we live, there are so many portions that are just out of control. And one thing that comes to mind is those huge muffins that you can get at Quick Star or the bakery. They're about 500 calories a piece, about 60 grams of fat. So they're about 1/4 of our calorie intake and most of our fat intake. And it used to be muffins were much smaller. And at the fast food places, everything is supersized. You go to Dairy Queen, you can get these huge blizzards that are loaded with your calories for the day. And it's easy to, and big bags of chips. If you bring one home, it's hard to just not take, it's easier to eat, keep eating out of it. But if you can portion some out and then put the bag away, or portion the whole bag, for the week, that's helpful. And another thing is the children we have, or nieces, nephews, we're all role models for them. And children are becoming heavier and heavier by the year. And there's a lot of projections about by the time they reach age 30, how many of them are going to have heart disease or diabetes. So that's something to keep in mind too. And trying to manage stress, anxiety as well as we can, that's going to help cut our risk of heart disease. So that comes into play along with the exercise and eating right. And another thing, dietitians don't always eat right. We may know how to eat right, but eating totally perfect isn't always fun. And you have to have some enjoyment with your food. So I know there's things that I do that, maybe I shouldn't be doing all the time, but more often than not, I'm trying to do it. So if you see a dietitian eat a donut, or see me having a dessert through the line, I'm not doing it every day, and I'm kind of, All right, so then for the PowerPoint. So what is wellness? It's a state of mind. It's making the healthiest choice at that time. So you may be at a meeting and you're not going to get any activity in for the day, and there's not a whole lot of choices, but what is there, maybe that's something that is a little bit healthier than the other food. So where you're at is not always going to be the ideal situation, but in that situation you may find you can do something that's going to be a little healthier. And we come home in the evening, we want to relax, and food can be soothing. So many people go to food at night and, eating out of that bag of chips or the ice cream. So being prepared for those times and having healthier ideas for eating. And when it comes to wellness, everybody's idea of wellness is different. So it's not just one size fits all. And the whole thing about wellness is creating new behaviors, and it can take 3 to 6 months to form a new behavior. So give it a lot of time. And this whole book is about adding beneficial foods, adding the fiber, adding whole grains, more fruits and vegetables, dairy. So it's not about what you shouldn't be having. And so it's way beyond dieting, it's a way of living. Okay, when babies are born, they know how much they need at a time, and they will stop eating when they're full. They may be hungry 2 hours later, but they'll stop when they're full. But over time, they lose that regulation, and they eat as much food as they want, because especially if it's sweet foods, salty foods, our bodies have a difficult time trying to stop eating those things. Where probably not many people are going to overeat on apples or carrot sticks, the healthier foods. And everybody has food triggers. And the best way to deal with those is try to keep them out of the house as much as possible. So if your trigger is ice cream, try not to have it in the house, or try to buy the little half-cup ice creams and put them up. And usually the trigger foods are going to be high in fat, sugar, and salt. And so like I mentioned, trying to get the single-serve portions of chips and ice cream. Sleep importance, which I touched on. you want to aim for at least 7 hours of sleep and up to 9. Too little sleep can lead to unhealthy food choices. If you don't get enough sleep, you're not going to feel ambitious to cook yourself more of a healthy meal, so it might be more grabbing the quick stuff that may be higher fat and sugar. And to get a good night's sleep, we want to cut back on caffeine foods and beverages at least 4 hours before bedtime. I've seen different numbers on that. And limiting alcohol, because the alcohol, we think it makes us go to sleep, but it interferes with the deep sleep we have, so we don't get as much restful sleep. Portion control is a big thing. If you look on a label, food label, you'll see it says serving size. So the serving size might be 1 ounce or 12 crackers. The portion size is actually how much you eat. So the serving size may say one thing, but it's the portion you're eating that you really need to look at. So if the serving size says 10 crackers, but you're going to have 20 crackers, you're going to have to double that amount of fat in that, or carbohydrate, or whatever you're looking for on the label. So always check the number of servings per package. Measure. Doesn't sound like fun, but trying to measure out your portions of food for a while, measuring out potatoes, vegetables, portioning chips or ice cream, cookies, that's all going to help keep in mind regular portion size and keep you on track. Another idea is to use my plate, where 1/4 of a plate is grain, 1/4 of a plate is protein, and then the other half is fruit and vegetable or all vegetable. So if you kind of make your plate up that way, you know you're going to have healthier choices. And they say eat like a bird, not a bear, so just a little bit every once in a while, instead of a bear who eats so much and then sleeps for a long time. And something to be cautious of, anything that's low fat, low sugar, you're thinking, yay, it's lower in calories, I can eat as much as I want. But that's not true. It's going to add up in calories. Oh. Nighttime cravings is something that people have trouble with, and our relaxation kind of brings it out. So trying to stop eating about 2 hours before bedtime, and for an evening snack, trying to have some source of protein, because that's going to tide us over. So if you would have a yogurt along with your snack at night, nuts, cheese sticks, something with protein, that's going to help tide us over better. And trying to keep it to a single portion size. So if it's chips or ice cream, or if you have cookies at home, trying to aim for a small cookie instead of one of those super large cookies. So portion control. Habits, which I had talked about, can take 3 to 6 months to change. And just trying to focus in on one habit at a time. There may be many things you want to change at some point in your life, but if you pick one and really stick with that for a while, and once you got that accomplished, then maybe you can try for another thing. And our old pathways never go away, so our trigger foods, so I love to eat ice cream, and I always know that's going to be a trigger, so I don't keep a lot of ice cream in the house, and I allow myself ice cream 1 or 2 days a week. It used to be 7, so I'm down. So for me, the trigger is ice cream, and I'm aware of it, and I work with it. And even if you make some food choices that you look back on thinking, I shouldn't have done that, that's going to happen. Just pick up and keep on going. And with the fiber, another thing that they talk about in the book is trying to get the most volume of food for your calories. When you eat something high in fat or high in sugar, the portion is pretty little and the calories can add up fast. But if you're eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, you're getting this large amount of food, but for the same calories, so you're going to feel fuller. So trying to get the most volume of food for your calories. And then speaking of calories, there needs to be a balance of how many calories you take in and the activity you spend, and that's going to vary on people. The food label is usually based on 2,000 calories. And men and women need different amounts. Teenagers need different amounts. But I just put, like, for sedentary men, they need somewhere between 2,000 and 2,200 a day, maybe less. Women who are pretty sedentary, 16 to 1,800 a day. So when you're looking at like percents of calorie intake from the different nutrients on the food package, just keeping aware that you might not be at right the 2,000. Stocking up on grains. So good things to choose that are going to be fiber packed would be 100% whole wheat breads, pasta, your whole wheat tortillas, pizza crust. And from the Lunch and Learn a couple months ago where the Hy-Vee dietitians came, I did try that thin whole wheat pizza crust and used some light cheese and turkey pepperoni, Canadian bacon, the sauce, and kids ate it. So that turned out pretty good. Brown rice is going to give more fiber than white rice. Trying to get high fiber cereals in. That's one thing. If you can get a high fiber cereal in to start the day, you're going to be closer to your 25 grams of fiber a day. It's really hard to get 25 without adding some higher fiber cereal. So Raisin Bran has more. If you've heard of Fiber One, that's really fiber packed, and that's something that you could sprinkle on some other cereals. Popcorn is a good source of fiber, and other grains, the couscous, quinoa, oats, and barley. So those are be some good things to stock up on. For lean protein, beans, peas, legumes, poultry or turkey without the skin, any kind of fish. The fatty fish are a little bit more beneficial. If you're using ground beef, try to choose one of the leanest, or at least the 93% fat-free. It costs more, but less fat's going to drain off of it. For pork, the leanest is the pork tenderloin. Beef cuts that are leaner are the loin or round. And they do make like turkey bacon, soy sausage. We use the turkey bacon at home. The kids love it, but it's getting used to. It's a lot meatier than regular bacon. Dairy products, it's recommended to try to get 3 in a day, and trying to have the skim or 1% milk at home, fat-free or low-fat yogurt. When it comes to cottage cheese, trying for the fat-free or 1%, but one way, I'll drink the skim and have fat-free yogurt, but for me, cottage cheese has to be the full fat. But, you know, I'm balancing that. The mozzarella cheese sticks are something that's good for a snack, and it's protein, so it helps tide you over. Or you can buy the reduced fat cheese, or buy the sharp cheddar. Since it has more flavor, you can use actually less of it in recipes. The healthy fats would be the unsaturated oils. So if you think of your canola oil, olive oil, soybean oil, all your oils. But I will mention there's been a lot of hype with coconut oil recently. And coconut oil is still a saturated fat, no matter what. And until the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics comes out and says it's okay, it's not going to be okay. So dietitians cannot recommend that. And I know whoever gets the insurance here was mailed a handout, maybe it's been 3-4 weeks ago, where it talks, a dietitian does talk about the coconut oil and what they're saying about it. Nuts and seeds are always good for the healthy fats. Nut butters, avocados, olives. If you're going to use margarine, use a tub margarine. It's less saturated. If you think of stick margarine, it's pretty hard, so there's more of the bad fat in there. So stay away from stick margarine altogether. If you want to use butter, that's fine, just small amounts, or if you want to use a tub margarine. And they are light versions of salad dressing, cream cheese, sour cream. I wouldn't use the fat-free versions. They don't taste the same, and sometimes they're even higher in carbohydrates, which some people have to watch out for. Dining out, is sometimes a problem, and because there's so many food options and the food they give you, the portions are huge. So one idea is not to order appetizers. Having the bread or chips removed from the table so you're not even tempted. If you set a spending limit, how much money you're going to spend, then maybe you're a little less likely to order more and more food that might not be as good for you. You can share meals or desserts or ask for a portion of it to be taken home. And planning ahead, for some people this can be really beneficial. Making out a menu for each day of the week, grocery shop by it, so you always have that food in the house for what you want to prepare on a certain night. Finding new food recipes and just trying new food, so trying new vegetables, new fruits, so it's always something new. And taking it one day at a time. Every small success can lead to a greater success. So small changes, like if you want to start adding a second fruit during the day, that could be your goal for a while till you're set in that, and then start something else. So you may be thinking, oh, well, there's so many things I should change, but just pick a few at a time, and over time they'll build on each other. And remember, food should be enjoyable and fun, but something you should kind of think about. And eating and drinking are important to good health. So still include those foods you like, just trying to get in more the high fiber foods, the nuts, and not thinking about so much about what you should be backing off on. Questions on anything nutrition related?
I have one. I saw that you said, which makes sense, before bedtime limit caffeine. But you had food and beverages, and when I think caffeine, I just think soda and coffee.
Right.
What else has caffeine in it? Chocolate?
Candy bar, yes, chocolate. Yeah, so yeah, that's what they were getting at there. Okay. Well, did everybody put their name in for the drawing?